Welcome everyone. In today's demo, I'm going to show you the accounting CRM and practice management tool. It's a tool designed to help you manage your client tasks and deadlines without the stress. Before we get started, I would like to show you why exactly we created Data Grows. When we first started, we realized that most accountants spent the bulk of their time remembering tasks and deadlines, booking time after the work has been done, doing invoicing and billing, managing staff, wondering if a client or accountant is actually profitable, and then stressing about all of this. So we created the Data Grows Accounting CRM and Practice Management tool to schedule tasks according to the SARS deadlines for you. It also gives a summary view of all upcoming deadlines. It allows you to track time while you're doing the work. It helps to prepare billing. It also tracks staff progress and shows profitability per client and accountant. This means that all of this really helps to reduce your stress and free up your time so you can focus on doing the actual work. In today's demo, I'll show you the basics. This will be how to add a client, where to get your summary view of all the upcoming tasks, how to do billing and timekeeping within the app. Then we'll dig a little bit deeper and I'll go through our automated versus our manual tasks. And then we'll delve into some of these tasks tables in more depth. After that, I'll cover some other cool features that we have within the app, and then I'll show you how to get your client details into the app and start working. Let's start with the basics. After you log into the application, you'll arrive on a screen that looks like this. We call this your home page. Once you click on the accounting CRM, it will expand to reveal all of your tables as well as departments. Each department can then be clicked on and expanded to reveal more tables. To start off with, we'll load our first client. So we'll do this by going to the client table and clicking on Add Record in the top right-hand corner. This expansion bar over here allows you to expand the view. So for today's demo, I'll select an active client. Type in a name and select an entity type. This is the minimum amount of information that I need to add to actually get a client onto the system. All active clients will schedule tasks, whereas inactive and pending clients won't schedule tasks. So I'll also just assign myself as the accountant over here, so the notifications come to me. And then I'll switch on payroll just to demonstrate the way that the tasks actually schedule. After that's done, I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom and click on Save and New. This task will then immediately have scheduled. So now if I go to the payroll department on the left-hand side and then scroll down to the payroll table, this task will be there immediately. If I click on it and expand the view, that reveals a summary section and then a details section. All of our automated tables work in this way. The summary section will contain the client name, a status, a period where applicable, as well as a due date, and then a notes field where you can add an internal note. After that, you'll find the accountant dropdown and a partner and manager dropdown. The schedule date is just when it shows up on the feed. Below that will be a details section. This details section is unique per task. So all of the automated tasks will have various checkboxes or fields where you can add currency amounts or, in this case, the number of employees. At any point, you can open a task and check some of the checkboxes as you work on the task, and then just change the status to in progress as well. Save and come back and continue working on the task. If you know all of these steps off by heart, so you don't need them as a reminder, you can simply just use the status dropdown. Once you have completed this task, you can change the status to completed, and it will move away from your main feed and head to your archive table. This means that your list will get shorter and shorter as the month progresses. When you start off your day and you want to see exactly which tasks you need to work on, you will go to the all task due table where all of your reminders will be scheduled. So this I'm going to show to you in a more populated database. The all task due table will look like this. Any due date that is marked in pink is overdue, where due date marked in yellow is coming up in the next 7 days, and then anything below that is coming up at a future date. To start working on the task, you'll go to the little hot link icon, so the blue icon, and click on that. This will take you to the table filtered on the exact task. You can then click on the task and start working on it. The app also allows you to time on any task. So once you click on a task, the little timer will show up. And then if I click on that timer, the timer will start running. If I hover over the timer, it shows me the exact client and task that I'm working on. And even if I navigate away from this table, or I close the app, or I move from my desktop to my mobile device, the timer continues counting. It'll only stop once I actually click stop. And then all of the time captured in this way goes into the time log department and the time log table. Here it can be reviewed by an admin or a partner user through the time authorized table. To change any time record, you would simply click on the time record and then change the start or end time to correct it, or add more time manually by clicking on add record. It also gives you a breakdown for the duration hours, then a decimal breakdown, as well as a rounded breakdown according to the rounding that you'll set up once you set up your time authorization. This can then go further into an approval process where it can go all the way into an invoice. If you generate an invoice through DataGrows, it will look like this. So you'll see a breakdown of the rate groups, any fixed fees that you have, as well as tasks that fall outside of the rate group that you have set up. All of that is done under the setup department, but there is a dedicated blog post explaining exactly how to set up your rate groups that we'll get to later. Once time is logged, it all goes into a billing report where you can see at any point in the month exactly how much revenue your company has actually generated. That can be found within the firm reports by clicking on the hyperlink for the billing report. In here, you'll see all of the clients that have time logged against them, as well as the rate group that they fall within, and then the tasks that have actually been completed for them. This can be downloaded by clicking on the little icon over here and then exporting it as an Excel file or a PDF. Okay, that brings us to our next section, which is our automated versus our manual tasks. So you'll see that all the tasks here on the left, this is what we schedule automatically within DataGrows. So we'll schedule tasks for accounting, VAT returns, SIBC annual returns, financials and income tax, compensation fund ROE, EMP 201, EMP 501 biannual recon, payroll, UIFU filing, income tax individuals, provisional tax, and turnover tax. And then we also have some manual tables, which are the tables on the right. These are just manual because we can't predict the interval in which they actually occur. These are the firm and ad hoc tasks, the SIBC tasks, SARS tasks, and the specialized tasks. Within DataGrows itself, all of these tasks can be found within the left navigation over here by expanding any of the departments. I'm going to take you through some of the manual tables in more detail, just because they schedule in a bit of a different way. I have already explained how all of the automated tables work. So our first manual table is under the ad hoc task department, and it's called firm and ad hoc tasks. To schedule a task within this table, click on add record in the top right-hand corner, and it will give you an edit form. So we recommend using this table to log time against things that reoccur, such as meetings or drafting letters or sending emails. Basically anything that you see in this drop-down list over here. I'll select emails and then assign it to a client. Select a status, an accountant, and a partner if applicable. You can also add a note and then give it a due date. If you assign a due date, then a reminder will be scheduled within your all task due table. Once that's done, click on Save and New. You can then select the task and start timing on it immediately. Our next manual table we get to is the specialized task table. This table is used to schedule anything that is reoccurring and unique per client. So if you have clients that require quarterly meetings or where you actually need to pay their staff salaries, for example, all of that will be scheduled within this specialized task table. To schedule a task initially, scroll all the way down to setup and then go to the specialized scheduler. I'm just going to show that to you in our first database. So under setup, specialized scheduler, then click on add record in the top corner and expand the view. Here, the task field is a text field, so you can literally type in any description you want. And then give it a more detailed description of what exactly the task entails. Assign it to a client. And then select a department. The department over here refers to the rate that needs to be charged for this specific task. Then assign it to an accountant, a manager, as well as a partner if applicable, and select a frequency. You have various options over here to select from. I'm going to select specific day of the month. And then the 25th. It needs to occur every month, and I want it to start at the end of this month. The scheduled days before is just how many days before you would like the system to remind you to actually do the work. So it's when it'll pop up within your all task due table. I'm going to say 10 days before and then click Save and New. The first task will populate immediately within your all task due table. And then from next month, it will adhere to the scheduled date. So from next month, it'll only schedule on the 15th. So it'll be 10 days before from next month on. To start working on a task, again, change the status to in progress, then click on the timer and start working. Once this task is done, I'll change the status to completed and click save. Then next month, the following task will pop up again. Our third manual table is the CIBSE task table. Again, click on add record to start working on a task and then select from the drop down. Assign it to a client, and then select a status, accountant, partner once again. The details section within the CIBSE tasks, you can leave that blank to start off with, then click Save and Edit. This will reveal a CIBSE subtask tab in the top right that gives a list of all of the documents and steps that you need to complete this task. You'll also see a little download template link column on the right with various hyperlinks. Depending on the task, there'll be more or less. So once you click on that, it will download a template that you can then just edit and send off to your client. To give you an example of what that looks like. So the template will look like this. You can then just open that, send it off to your client. Once they send it back, you can store it against the Documents tab over here. by clicking on Add Record and then dragging and dropping that file into the window. Once you've received all of your files and you've actually uploaded onto CIBC, you can come back to Details and then scroll all the way down to Upload. Select the uploaded date as today and click Save. You will see that the due date automatically populates, so the system calculates the 10 calendar days for you and schedules the due date, which then populates a reminder within your all task due table. From tomorrow on, this day counter will start counting. So if I show this to you in a more populated database, the day counter looks like this. So here you can see at a glance exactly how far within the process all of these tasks are. Our last manual table is the SARS task table, which can be found under tax. This table works in a very similar way to the CIBC task table, where again you would click on Add Record and then expand your view. This drop-down list has quite a few tasks in it, as you can see. I'll assign it as needed and change the status quickly. You'll see within the SARS table, it gives you an uploaded date as well as an internal due date and a SARS appointment date. So all of these will schedule reminders within the all task due table. Fill in the internal due date if you know that you need to get your documents ready before a certain time frame. Then you'll select the internal due date. If a SARS appointment has been made, then you can select a SARS appointment date. Otherwise, leave all of those blank to start off with and click on Save and Edit. This again gives a SARS subtask tab that contains a list of steps and documents needed to complete the task. This one you'll see has quite a few more links than the previous CIBC one that I showed. It gives you links to the SARS website where we could find forms that you can download or where you can upload online, for example, this SARS online query link. That just gives you quick access to the right pages you need to complete the task. Once the task is completed and you have submitted everything, come back to the task details section and select an uploaded date. Then click Save. So here the system will automatically calculate the due date for you in working days. So it will be 21, 60 or 90 days depending on the task you have selected. And from tomorrow that day counter will again start counting. So if I show that to you in our more populated database, then over here you'll see the day counter for the various tasks where an uploaded date has already been selected. Okay, that covers all of our automated tasks and our manual tasks. Next, I'll show you some other cool features that we have within the app before we get into how exactly you can get all of your details in. So DataGrows gives you the ability to manage a share register within the app. You can also generate share certificates within seconds. We have a dedicated directors table where you can add as many directors as you want. We also have a chat functionality. That's an in-app chat just to talk to your team. We have two reporting tables, the firm reports as well as just our normal reports. The firm reports contain sensitive information, so it's only available to admin and partner users, whereas the normal reports table is available to your entire team. This reports table contains things like time worked per accountant, birthday reports, as well as the organization skills matrix report, which is a training tool to upskill your staff. Then we'll move to our process table, which contains our automated emails. I'll also show you the Popcom, which is a new feature. It's like a broadcasting tool to your entire team. And then I'll show you the services not used table as well. So to access the shared register table, you would navigate through the client table. So let's do it on this database. If I go to the client table and select the client, then go to SIPC and share register. I can then click on add record in the top right-hand corner and another screen will open up. The company will populate automatically. Then I can type in the shareholder name. Select a class of shares, as well as the date issued, and a number of shares. At the bottom, there is a field to add a share certificate number. If you leave this blank, the system will start counting from 1. If you need to add a custom number, you can, and the system will start counting from that number on for all the following share certificates that you add to the system. I'm just going to add another one to show you how the system calculates the percentage. Now you'll see over here that the shareholding percentage is automatically calculated. If I add another shareholder, it will readjust the shareholding percentage. And if any of the shares are seeded, then it will readjust the remaining shares. To download a share certificate, click on the little icon over here. And then on the download icon to export it as a PDF. That PDF can then be sent off to your client and signed. Once it is sent back, you can save it against the record for future reference by coming back to the share register table and then clicking on this icon over here. Then on the record you would like to attach it to, documents, and then on the plus icon. You can then just drag and drop that share certificate into the window over here. To export the entire share register for a specific company, you would navigate like I just showed. Once it is on this view, go to menu and click on download. The table will then be exported as a CSV filtered on the specific company. The next table I want to show to you is the directors table, which can also be found by navigating through the client table, clicking on any client record, then expanding the view and coming to the directors tab and clicking on add record. This gives you room to add a lot more details per director. So you can either select a director from your existing client list. In this case, I only have this one company on this database. Or you can add a new name into this field over here. After that, you can select from the drop downs over here, the type of director as well as the date appointed, the date resigned if they resign, their ID number, their cell number, their email, and their address. If you had selected an existing client, a lot of the details over here will populate automatically. Once this is captured, click Save, and a record will open again so you can capture a new director. The next table I would like to show to you is the My Chats table. So you can chat against any record within DataGrows. To do that, simply go to a task table. So if I go back to payroll, let me just unarchive this task so I can show it to you. To chat against this task, click on the little chat icon next to it and then type in @. This will bring up a list of all the people in your team. Lynn will then receive a notification within her My Chats table. So she will see a 1 under unread message count. Once she clicks on that, it will take her to the record filtered on the task. So she can just then click on the chat and start typing back. Once you are done with the chat, go back to the My Chats table, click on the record, and then change the status to completed and click save. The task will then vanish from the My Chats feed unless you are directly mentioned again. If you are directly mentioned again in the chat, it will pop back up. Okay, then we get to all of our reports. The first report table is the firm reports. This is just available to admin and partner users because it contains sensitive information. So the first one that I want to show to you is the firm summary report, which can be accessed by clicking on the hyperlink. This gives you a breakdown of the structure of your firm. So it will show a detailed breakdown of all of the active clients broken down into various entity types. And right at the bottom, let me just increase the view a bit. Right at the bottom, it gives a breakdown of all of the rate groups. So you know where you can take on more clients and where you could maybe explore renegotiating rates or where your company's strengths lie. That can be found in this report. Next, we have the billing report, which I have already briefly shown to you, where you can find the exact duration breakdown for the work done on each client and a total for the entire month. We also have the revenue report that is launching this month, so it's not live on this database yet. Basically, what the revenue report will do is when you add your staff, you can select their salary amount or their hourly rate as well as their overtime rate. It will then compare that to the retainers or the fees that you negotiated per client and give you a breakdown of how much your staff are actually costing you versus how much income, how much revenue they're actually generating for the company. Then we have our accountant hours report. To access this one, select a month that you would like to view. And then click on View Report. What this does is it gives you a breakdown of all of your accountants on your team. So you'll see the accountant name, and then the client that they worked on, the description, the status, the duration, as well as the amount that can be invoiced for compared to the cost to company for that particular accountant. This can then again be downloaded by clicking on this icon over here. Then we also have the time log per client report. Again, select a date breakdown. And click on View. This will give you the name of the client as well as the description of what has been done, the invoice status and the duration worked, as well as the accountant that was actually working on the task. Next, we get to our normal reports table. So I'm not showing these two reports to you because they will soon be discontinued. They have been replaced by the billing and the revenue report. Next, we get to the reports table. There, the first report is the data audit report. This is a way just to make sure that all of your data has been entered correctly. So it will flag things like if an accountant has been assigned a task, but does not actually have access to that particular task, so they can't do the work. It'll also show where turnover tax and income tax has been switched on, or turnover tax and provisional tax, because you do not need to submit both. Once you have corrected these errors, it will disappear from the report, so the list will also get shorter. Then our next one that we have, I just want to see if I can move this bar. Okay, our next report that we have is the Your To-Do List for the next 30 days report. This report is a breakdown of your all tasks due, so you'll see now once I open it. It is like a summary view of it with a more detailed breakdown on some of the sheets. And it does get emailed out to you every Monday morning in an Excel format, so you can plan your week. If I go into it, you'll see that it gives a breakdown per accountant. So all of these are the accountants on my team. If I click on any of them, then it will expand to show me their tasks that are overdue, marked in pink, tasks that are coming up in the next 7 days in yellow, and then all tasks for the next 30 days will be in white. If I then go further to the right, David's one is actually nice to show. It gives a breakdown of their tasks broken down into ad hoc and once-off, annual and biannual, and then monthly tasks. So I can then again go and click on any of them, and then I'll see the due date, the accountant assigned, the task name, as well as the client. And then if a note was captured against the task, that will show up in the notes column over here. This does get emailed out as an Excel, but you can also download it again at any point by clicking on this icon and then downloading it as an Excel. The next report that we have is the accountant times report. So this, you will need to select a month again, and then select a specific task or all tasks, and then your entire team or just some of the accountants within the team. This then gives a comparison. So here you can see Lynn was quite an outlier in November. Maybe the rest of the team was on leave already. Once you go further to the right, you'll see hours per accountant per day breakdown, and then hours per accountant per task per day. We also give an hours per accountant per task, and then accountant total at the bottom. This is a very good report to see who your really strong team members are and who might require some additional training. After that, we have the VAT returns report. This is a way to make sure that you don't miss a VAT return and get those hectic penalties. So it will show all of the VAT returns that are coming up that have not been marked as in progress yet. We also have an automated email that goes out to your staff as another way to avoid any of these penalties, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Our second last report in this table is the organizational skills matrix. To set this up, you will go to setup and then to organization skills matrix. Here you will add all of your staff and give them a rating. So we advise that this be an internal meeting, just because oftentimes people tend to over or underestimate their actual skill level in a task. To add a team member, click on add record over here, and then select the accountant from the drop down. After that, you'll see various tasks with a drop down indicating no experience. I've done some, I can do 50%, I can do 90%, or go to this person for training. Select one of these for each of the tasks, and then right at the bottom, there are 2 upskill preference drop downs. So here you will select a task that this person wants to get more training on. If they don't require more training on any of the tasks, leave it as blank, and then add your next accountant to the list. Once all of them have been added and you go back to the report, then the report will give a breakdown that looks like this. So the more complete the square, the more skilled the person is in the particular task. And the aim is for anyone with a completed square to stop doing the work and to train someone else to do the work. Anyone with a dotted line within their square would like more training on this specific task. In this way, the more senior accountant reduces their workload and the more junior accountant starts to learn more. So you essentially free up the time for your more senior members and upskill your entire team in the process. Then we have a client birthday report. This is a good way to maintain that personal relationship with your clients. You'll see exactly when the next birthday is coming up and the email where you can email that client, and a contact number if you'd rather want to make a phone call or send a WhatsApp, for example. We have 2 more reports that are found within the clients table. If you go all the way to the right, the one is a summary report. So that just gives you a breakdown of the information that you'll add within the client table. And then we also have the work in progress report. What the work in progress report does is it indicates all of the upcoming tasks. So here, the first one you'll see incomplete. So that's not started and in progress. And then the next page will give all of the completed tasks for that client. And then once I've actioned invoices for this client, all of them will fall within the invoiced sheet. This is a really nice way to see if a client phones. It's a quick summary just to see how far you are with their tasks and give them a quick overview of what's happening. Okay, next we get to our process table, which has our automated emails as well as where you can generate your invoices. So the first ability that one has is once you've logged all of your time and it has been checked through by an admin or a partner user, they will then select all of the tasks. So if any task is internal and should not be invoiced for, you will select that, and under actions, change the status here to mark internal. So here, mark internal, and then that will vanish from your feed and it'll go directly to archive because you don't want to invoice for that. Everything that remains, you'll select, and then under actions, select mark invoice pending. That then moves to the time invoice pending table where you can overlook it once again. Once you are happy with all of this, go to setup and then to the process table. Then click on generate invoices, and either you can action it to run on a specific day of the month by selecting from this drop down, or you can just change the action to process and click save, and it will run on the spot. Again, all of your invoices can then be found within the invoice table under the time log department. To download any of the invoices, just scroll all the way to the right and then click on this icon over here, and that invoice will download. The second function within the process table is the automated emails. So they are all of the ones over here. We have a request for bank statements that goes out to your clients. We will not email your clients unless you give us explicit permission to do so. To give us permission to actually email your clients within your initial data upload that I'll go through in a second, you'll have a checkbox that says allow to email from DataGrows. So it looks like this. Email client from DataGrows, and you'll have to check that to give us permission. So this is quite nice if you have some clients that we can email on your behalf and some that we shouldn't. You'll indicate that here. And then give us further permission by clicking on the task and then either running the action yourself by clicking on action and then process, then the email will immediately be sent, or by going to schedule and then selecting a scheduled date over here, which is the date that it will run each month. If you click on any of the email records, it will give you a description of exactly what this email does. So for example, this email, if in your client upload, you selected that you have to request their bank statements, and within their automatically scheduled accounting task, you have not yet selected the bank statements as received, this email will go out as a reminder asking them to please send through their bank statements for the appropriate period. An example of what that email looks like is over here. So the email is structured in this way. It, at the moment, is still sent from DataGrows. We are busy working on masking this email. So we do ask that you just let your clients know that DataGrows is in fact a trusted source and that they can respond to an email from DataGrows. If they click on any of the reply links or click reply to over here, then it will go directly back to the accountant assigned to that client. The accountant will also be CC'd in this email, so they'll know that the email actually went out. And a recent feature that we added, it will now say kind regards, the accountant's name, and then below that, the firm's name as well. If the client replies to this email, DataGrows is not CC'd in the response. So after sending the initial email, that's where our link ends. Okay, the next email that we have is a provisional tax payment is due reminder. This one also goes out to your clients. You can read the description over here. Then we have our VAT returns email that goes out to your staff as a reminder for them to submit the VAT returns that are due. Then we also have a EMP 201 returns reminder that will go out to the accountant, reminding them of an EMP 201 return that is due and not yet marked as paid or complete. We also have a payroll one. This will be sent out to your client's main contact, requesting payroll changes for the current month. It goes out 5 days prior to the task due date, if you select a scheduled date. And it asks them for so it asks them for any changes to the payroll for that particular month, but you can read the full description over here. Then our last one, the SARS request for taxpayers, that one is not live yet. As soon as our integration with SARS goes live, then we'll launch this email over here. Okay, our two last tables that I want to show you is the PopCom, which can also be found under setup. And adding a record over here. You can then add a title and a message. Then select the day that you actually entered it and a show after date. Once all of this is added and you click save and new, the next time your team logs in after the show after date, they'll receive a little pop-up in the bottom corner. And this pop-up will show your message and ask them to confirm. So they'll actually have to confirm. Otherwise, every time they log back in, they'll be reminded to please read the message and click on confirm. Once they do that and you click on this record again, there is a PopCom confirmation tab at the top, which will show all of the team members that have actually clicked on the confirmation link. So you'll know who has seen the message. Our last table is the services not used table. This shows you where you can upsell to your clients. So it will indicate services that we feel based on the entity type you could still be offering to this client. This table works in the reverse from our other tables. So anywhere where a checkbox is checked. This is a service that you're not currently offering to them, but that you could be offering to them. You can then send them an email or give them a call. And if they agree to add these services to their package, you can just come back to this table, click on their record, and then immediately go and switch on the services for them. Once all of the services have been switched on, they'll vanish from the services not used table. Okay, so that covers all of our features. Next, I'll show you how to actually get your clients in, so how to do a bulk client upload and how to add your staff. Once you arrive on the main screen, on your home screen, you'll see a click here to get started with the accounting CRM link at the bottom. If you click on that, it takes you to a very detailed step-by-step guide on exactly how to get your staff in and set up your entire database. The first thing that it will ask you to do is to add your staff. You will do that by going to Setup and Accountant. Here you can add a new accountant by clicking on Add Record in the top corner, then typing in a name and an email and selecting a role. The various roles give various access rights to the system. So by hovering over any of the roles, you'll see exactly what the role does and which access it gives to the various accountants. You will have been added as an admin user already, the person that opens the account. Please leave yourself as an admin user because that is the highest role within Data Grows and it will give you access to the entire app. When you initially start adding your clients, when you initially start adding your staff, we ask that you just type in the email and their name and leave the roles blank so they don't get an email requesting access to the application yet. This just gives you time to set up the entire application before coming back here and assigning a role. Once a role is assigned and you click Save and New, they will receive an email asking them to create a password that will then give them access to the application based on the role level you have selected. Over here, you can add an hourly rate as well as an overtime rate and the fixed salary amount. That is all of the stuff that then gets pulled through to the reports that I showed earlier on. After you have added all of your accountants, go to Setup once again and then to Data Upload. This is where you'll attach your template. To download the template, scroll down within the Setup block to Data Upload Preparation. This gives two templates that you can download. The first one is your client upload file. That is the one that you will be using. The second one is the example client upload file. This is just a visual reference if you need to refer back to a document. So after you open the your client upload file, it will look similar to this one over here. Your first row will be the column heading row. The second row is a guide row, just showing you how to populate each column. And then below that, you'll add your information. There are 4 columns that we ask as a minimum. So the first one is the client name. The second is the status that you can just select from the dropdown. The third is the entity type, again, that you can just select from the dropdown. And the last one is the accountant column over here. To add your accountants to the template, come to the tips and format sheet and then to the accountant column. So under the accountant column, you'll add your team members exactly like you did within Data Grows. So if you used names only within Data Grows, please just use names here. Or if you used names and surnames in Data Grows, use names and surnames here. After you've added your accountants under this column and you go back to the client import sheet, the accountant's name will pop up on the drop-down, and you can easily just assign them to the various clients. To run through this upload document quickly, we have the client name, then a status. Again, active clients will generate tasks. You also have a comment section, that's just a text field where you can add any comment. Then an entity type, a registration number and a registration date, and then a year end. So the registration date and year end is used to schedule CIPC annual returns as well as tax tasks. So we ask that you please add them for any company that you wish to schedule those two tasks for. If it's an individual and you would like a birthday reminder, please add their date of birth under registration date. You can then add a trading name if it's different from your client name, as well as assign them to any internal grouping structure that you have. So if you have multiple clients within the same company, for example, you'll add them under the same group. Then you'll have the various contact information for the primary contact, as well as all of your statutory registration numbers. Then you can assign a partner, manager, and an accountant, or if you have someone that's specifically responsible for CIPC tasks, for example, you'll assign that person under the CIPC role. This just means that whoever's assigned as the accountant will be the accountant for all tasks. Unless one of these is assigned, then that person will overrank the accountant. So Jane, for example, over here will be assigned to all of the CIPC tasks for this client instead of David, but David will still be assigned to all other tasks for this client. After that, we have all of our services that you can just switch on according to the drop-downs, and then the guide. So if you switch on accounting, please select an accounting due date, and if it's biannual, annual, or quarterly, please select a starting month. For VAT returns, you can say true and then select a VAT type. Then we have the various payroll options you can switch on, as well as all of the other services. Scrolling further to the right, you'll have the drop down for request bank statements or self-download or bank feed. This request bank statements is the one that will be used for that email that goes out requesting their bank statements for the month. Then you have various fields to store login details. The site is secure, so you can store your login details over here, as well as address and then a summary view for the directors. So you can add up to 3 directors within this view, or add more details within that director table that I showed previously. Then you can indicate whether they're on a retainer, as well as an internal rating system, if you have a referral program, an internal client code, and an SIC number. The SIC code can be found under tips and formats all the way to the right. You can just copy and paste it over. Once all of this is populated, please save the file as an Excel SX file. We don't work in a CSV for this upload just because the system is set up to show you your errors up to the exact cell. So I'll show that to you now. Within the data upload table, I'll click on add record at the top over here, and then save and edit. Then I'll go to documents and click on the plus icon. Where I can drag and drop the file or click on the window to navigate. Then go back to details and click on save. The system does take a minute or two to process the data, so just give it a while and then refresh the data upload tab. We'll just give that a little bit. Okay, once the status changes to either processed or data issue refer notes, you'll see that in the note table, it will show the error up to the exact cell. So in this case, I can see that I have an invalid column name, entity types in D1. Now I can come back to the Excel and then go to D1 and then just change the error. So in the case of the one with the error I uploaded, it shows entity types, and I can just remove that to show entity type once again. Save it, and then come back to Data Grows, go to Documents, delete the old document, attach the new one, click Save, come back to Details, change the status to Submit, then click on Save once again. And now we'll just give it a minute or two. There we go. This one has processed, so the status has changed to process, and I can see that it uploaded 9 rows, inserted 9, and updated 0 clients. I can just go and double check this in my client table by looking at the bottom right hand. I know that I added 1 client manually, so 10 clients is correct. If I compare that to my Excel, the first 2 rows are headings, so I have 9 clients. If you switched on the services within the Excel before doing the upload, then all of the automated tasks will have scheduled immediately. So you can just go to the various tables and they'll be there and you can start working. If you only switched on the 4 minimum columns, you will then select all of your clients by clicking on this little icon over here and then going to Actions and selecting Set Default Services. Once you click on that, it will set up default services based on the entity type. All of that is explained in the blog post where you can see exactly what we switched on per client. So you can see that in this little image over here within the blog post. Or you can also go and switch on the services manually for the clients that you have uploaded by selecting the client and then expanding the view. Here you'll see all of the registration numbers you can add, as well as where you can select your roles and switch on your services. Once all of that is done, just click Save. If you switch on the Set Default Services action, the tasks will schedule overnight. So please just give it for that overnight process to run. And then the next morning, once you log in, all of your tasks will have scheduled and your all task due table will have been populated. Okay, if at any point you feel like you are getting stuck, please just click on the little help icon over here. That will take you to a page where you can find an email link, as well as our main email and then our telephone and WhatsApp line. Our support is free of charge and our team is here to assist. So please don't hesitate to contact us rather than feeling stuck. Just let us help you out. We also have a resources link over here, which takes you to our full manual. So that link is going live soon, where you click on resources. Then you'll see the full manual over here. That gives you a breakdown of exactly how to get started, a per table breakdown, all of our other features. You'll find all of that within the resources tab. Our last cool feature that I want to show you before we say goodbye is the dark mode option. So that's found over here. Once you check it, then the entire system switches to dark mode. It's less strenuous on your eyes, and it's quite a nice view to work with. Okay, that's the app in a nutshell. Thank you for attending the demo. Please don't hesitate to contact us. Like I said, support is free of charge.